This is the September Scrawlrbox. I'm gonna open it up and see what's inside. The first thing that I'm seeing are some ants, and these look like Casey Golden style ants. So I wonder if this is gonna be a watercolor box. So she does these pieces where she draws thousands of ants and then she colors them all in. She does a bunch of different themes. So recently she did one where it was a fair. This looks to be a museum. She likes to hide things in these images. So you can see that she's snuck in a little thief of an ant over here. All the art in the museum is ant themed, and she's just super talented. I'm also a little bit amazed because everything is still packed up all nice and neat. Usually what happens, these have to come from the UK and then they ship all the way across America to me. So the supplies are just everywhere. And I think this is the first time everything's arrived still together. So first up, I'm seeing the Viviva color sheets. If these are what I think they are, then they're basically a bunch of watercolor pigment and they press them into these sheets and they're supposed to reactivate really easy with water, and they're also, from what I've seen, really vibrant. I've wanted to try them for a long time, but I just never actually purchased them, so I'm super excited to try them out. Alright, instructions. The color sheets look different than their actual color on paper as the pigment is super saturated. The partition between colors are covered with a special water repellent coating to avoid sticking with wet colors. We recommend that you let the colors dry before closing the color sheets. Vivia color sheets are safe for use, but needless to say, do not ingest them. Please wash your hands with soap after use. Have fun. Alright, I see what they mean about don't let the colors fool you, because this one is supposed to be red, but it is looking a lot like a brown in this form, and this other one is supposed to be green, but it definitely looks purple. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I swatch these before doing anything else, just to make sure that I know what colors I'm getting into. This peacock blue is also gorgeous, but it looks like it's more of a purple in the pigment. Yeah, this peacock blue doesn't look blue as far as the pigment sheet goes. It definitely looks like it's more of a purpley brown. And then the Persian blue looks like it's a pretty magenta, and violet looks like it's a nice olive green, and I kind of wish that I had that olive green actually. I think the biggest surprise is the magenta, because it is such a pretty green, but if it's supposed to be magenta, it's gonna have to become a really bright pink. Alright, this little piece of paper says, stick this to the main booklet, peel off the adhesive tape behind. And I think this... Alright, yeah, this basically just makes it a palette that you can have alongside your colors. That is so cool. I'm so excited. I can't wait to play with this. Also in the box, it looks like we've got a mechanical pencil by Orenz. It's a Pentel 0.7. We also have a Milan No. 4 paintbrush. I actually do need to get some new paintbrushes, so this is a good day for me. The pen is a Winsor & Newton fineliner, and it is pretty thick. And maybe the most important part of the entire box is the candy. It's just a Jolly Rancher. We have those in the US. This isn't an exotic fun candy for me. The sticker this month looks like it's just a black wash of either ink or watercolor. They also included a blank postcard, so I can color my own little gallery and then send it to a friend. And this is absolutely adorable. Oh, this is a nice touch. I like this Scrawlrbox. And the paper, oh man, the paper is super thick. It's 300 GSM beautiful English watercolor paper, traditionally made on a cylinder. High quality paper made for archival quality. And to nobody's surprise, the theme this month is feeling buggy. As I started swatching, I was amazed at how pigmented these colors were. I knew that because they were pressed pigments, they were gonna probably be pretty pigmented, but I was still amazed at how rich the colors were and I was also equally amazed at how easily they reactivated. I guess I've just used a lot of mediocre watercolor, and I was just kind of expecting them to not perform very good. I hoped that they would perform good, but I always have that expectation that maybe they might fall short of my expectations. I did really love the variety of colors that these pigments created, and it was so interesting to see how when it was pressed it was one color, and how when you got them wet they were completely different. Specifically, this olive green that became a magenta, that one I think still completely boggles my mind. I really want to know the science behind it. And then I tested out the pencils and the pen, and I quickly checked it with water to see if it was water resistant. It was not immediately. So then I tried again later, and it seems to be water resistant to some degree. So I don't really know what I want to draw, but I know that I want to draw a cute little bug catcher girl. So I have a good starting point now, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my normal sketchbook, and I'm going to just play around and see what I can come up with. So I'm not liking where these first two sketches are going, but I do really like how this third one is turning out. I think she's looking super cute. So I'm going to try one more, just one or two more ideas here, but I think the third one is the direction I'm going to go with. Alright, so I think I've got a good starting point, so I'm going to move this out of the way, and because I don't want to waste the paper, I'm just going to use the back side. I couldn't find my ruler, so I decided to just use the postcard. I'm done with the sketch, so I'm going to go over it very gently with my kneaded eraser and pick up some of the graphite. And now I can finally move on to my favorite part, which is going to be using these beautiful watercolors. Normally what I would do after picking up all the graphite with the kneaded eraser would be to go over it with the fine liner. However, I learned that this fine liner does not like getting wet, so I'm going to do something I don't do very often, which is watercolor and then do the line art after doing the coloring. Mixing the colors was a little bit difficult just because it's not how I normally would mix them. I'm not used to having to flip back and forth between sheets. I'm used to just dipping my paintbrush into the pan and going from there. So it was definitely a learning curve. I 100% got a lot of these colors a little bit darker than planned. Also, everything ended up a little bit oranger than planned. After laying down a couple of layers of color, I decided to go over a few areas with the pen just because I was starting to lose the lines and I didn't want to get confused on my journey. And so I went over it with a black marker, and then I mix up another color to start doing some shadows. And I am just amazed at how well these reactivate, how easy they reactivate. They are so pigmented. I absolutely love these watercolors. I'm so happy that I finally got to try them, and I'm so happy that they are living up to my expectations because I've heard nothing but good things about these. So I'm so happy that everyone was just equally in love with them. For the background, I didn't want to have a bunch of line work just because I love how soft a watercolor background looks when there's not a lot of lines. So I started off by taking this green, these beautiful, vibrant, delicious, bright greens, and I did a couple layers of those for the grass, and then I did have to layer them a couple of times just to get the different blades of grass, and I absolutely love how it looks. They blend together so well. And then I went in with one of the shades of blue and I started to work on the sky. I wasn't 100% sure what colors I wanted to use for her hair or the clothing, so I just kind of picked at random and really hoped that they looked okay together. I don't think the red sleeves with the yellow shirt were the best choice. They do kind of look a little bit ketchup and mustardy. Then I took the paint marker and I added a few highlights, tried to fix her lips, which I had messed up pretty bad earlier. I don't quite think I succeeded. I certainly tried, however. And then I just called it a day, and this was my cute little bug catcher girl. As much fun as I had, I felt like something was missing, so I decided to do a part 2. What better thing to draw than a bunch of bugs? A thing which I am so scared of in my day-to-day life. And we're done! I am so happy with how these turned out. Here are the 2 finished pieces. I love this art supply. I think it is an interesting idea. I have been very curious about these for probably 2 years at this point. Like I said earlier, I have put these in my cart a few times, just wanting to try them out, and I'm so happy I was finally able to. It does take a little bit getting used to, like with any new supply. It was hard to go from the color sheet to the little mixing table back to the piece. I found that a lot of times my color choice was a bit dark. They also tended to get a bit orange. The skin tone went very orange on me a few times, but overall, I think it's a great supply. I do highly recommend it. If you've been curious about it, I definitely recommend picking it up and trying it. This is a really fantastic watercolor set. But anyways, I hope that you guys are all having a good night, and I will see you later. Bye!